Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is something I think that you're going to enjoy if you are enjoying the episodes about the Enneagram or you're more curious about going a little deeper with it. We've talked about the 9 Enneagram types and their core motivations, fears, and desires, but today I want to dig into a layer of the Enneagram that many people find really transformative once they discover it. I'm talking about Enneagram subtypes. These subtypes reveal how our natural instincts, our most basic survival mechanisms, shape the way we express our core Enneagram type. So if you've ever wondered why two people of the same type can show up so differently, this is often the missing piece of the puzzle. The Enneagram subtypes add an additional layer of nuance and depth to understanding your type. Each Enneagram type is split into 3 subtypes based on which instinct is most dominant. The 3 types are self-preservation, social, or one-on-one. These instincts shape how we navigate the world, and even within the same Enneagram type, your dominant instinct can create a very different experience of life and leadership. Today we're going to explore what each subtype is, how each instinct presents across the 9 Enneagram types, and how understanding your subtype can help you grow as a leader, as a parent, or just in everyday life. So, let's jump right in. Welcome to the Grace-Filled Leader Podcast. Do you want better work-life balance? Do you get stuck in patterns of perfectionism and people-pleasing? Have you always been an overachiever but never really felt good enough, no matter how much outward success you achieve? Do you want more time for the things that matter most? Well, you are in the right place. Here on the Grace-Filled Leader Podcast, we focus on spirit-driven success and share the secrets to having better work-life balance as a busy woman in leadership. Here you will learn how to set boundaries like a boss, find peace of mind, and reclaim your time for the things that matter most. Hi, I'm Tanya, a wife, mom, leader, and certified Christian life coach. For most of my life, I tried to find worthiness through achievement. I spent decades people-pleasing and pouring myself into my work. I was looking for my value through the approval of others. This led me to feel burned out, empty, and exhausted. I had no time or energy for myself or my family. I realized that I was wasting time and energy looking for validation in all the wrong places. But my life changed when I finally surrendered and God showed me a different way. It is my mission to help you start living the abundant life God has for you. If you're ready to become fueled by grace and find freedom from people-pleasing, if you're ready to multiply your time and impact as a Christian woman in leadership, this podcast is for you. Roll up your sleeves, sister friends. It's time to get after it. Each person has all 3 instincts or subtypes, but one tends to dominate and shape their core type. Here's a brief breakdown of the 3 different subtypes. The first is called the self-preservation subtype. The self-preservation instinct focuses on personal safety, security, and comfort. People who lead with this subtype are primarily concerned with their own well-being. This can show up as a focus on health, finances, physical environment, and practical concerns. Subtype 2 is the social subtype. The social instinct is all about finding one's place in the larger community or social structure. People with this subtype are highly aware of group dynamics, roles, and how they fit into the larger picture. They are often motivated by the desire to contribute to the greater good or achieve status and recognition within a group. And finally, subtype 3 is the one-on-one subtype. The one-on-one subtype is focused on intense, intimate connections with others. People who lead with this instinct crave depth and intensity in their relationships and in their experiences. This subtype isn't necessarily sexual, but even though sometimes that's another name for the subtype, the one-on-one or sexual subtype, but it refers to seeking deep personal bonds and transformative experiences. So now that you understand a little bit about the subtypes, let's take a look at how they show up in each of the 9 Enneagram core types. Before we dive into the subtypes of each type, I want to briefly remind you of the core characteristics of each Enneagram type. Type 1 is the reformer. Type 1s are principled, responsible, and strive for perfection. They have a strong inner critic, and they're motivated by a desire to improve themselves and the world around them. Their core fear is being seen as corrupt or wrong, and they desire to live with integrity. Now, the subtype of self-preservation, so a self-preservation one focuses on personal integrity and discipline. Social ones strive for societal justice and improvements in the community. And one-on-one type ones are more intense, seeking perfection in their relationships. So core type number 2 is the helper. Type 2s are empathetic, caring, and generous, often going out of their way to meet others' needs. Their core fear is being unwanted or unloved, and they desire to feel appreciated and loved for their helpfulness. Self-preservation 2s care for others through practical acts of service. Social 2s focus on being indispensable within their group or community. And one-on-one type 2s seek deep personal connections to feel special and to feel loved. Core Enneagram type 3, the achiever. Type 3s are success-oriented, driven, and image-conscious. They fear failure and being seen as unworthy. So they work very hard to achieve recognition and success. They desire admiration and value being the best. A self-preservation 3 focuses on personal success and material achievements. A social type 3 strives for recognition and status within a group or in a society. And a one-on-one type 3 craves intense admiration and close relationships where they can shine. Core type 4, the individualist. Type 4s are sensitive, introspective, and deeply in tune with their emotions. They fear being ordinary and having no identity, and they desire to be seen as unique and authentic. They often experience very deep emotions, and they long for meaning in their lives. Self-preservation type 4s are more private, channeling their uniqueness inwardly. Social type 4s express their individuality through creative or social contributions. And one-on-one type 4s seek deep emotional intimacy in relationships, craving transformative experiences. Core type number 5, the investigator, is analytical, curious, and independent. They fear being overwhelmed by their environment, so they retreat into their minds, seeking knowledge and self-sufficiency. They desire to understand the world thoroughly. Self-preservation type 5s conserve their energy and their resources. Social type 5s contribute their knowledge to groups, often taking on the expert role in the room. And one-on-one type 5s focus on intense intellectual and emotional connections with a few trusted people. Core type number 6, the loyalist. Type 6s are committed, security-oriented, and responsible. Their core fear is being without support or guidance, and they seek certainty and safety. They desire support and approval from trusted authorities and groups. Self-preservation type 6 focus on their own personal safety and security. Social type 6s find security in group dynamics and loyalty to the community. And one-on-one type 6s seek deep, trusting relationships for security and guidance. Moving on to core type number 7, the enthusiast. Now, 7s are the spontaneous, optimistic, and adventurous sorts. They fear being trapped in pain or boredom, so they seek out fun and excitement and new experiences. They desire freedom and happiness. Self-preservation type 7s are a bit more practical and focused on their own personal security than some of the others. Social type 7s are the life of the party, finding excitement in social settings. This is not me. And one-on-one type 7s crave intense, thrilling experiences in close relationships. Moving on to type 8, the challenger. Type 8s are assertive, strong, and protective. We often think of these as the boss. They fear being controlled or vulnerable, so they assert their power and protect themselves and others. They very much desire control and autonomy. Self-preservation 8s focus on protecting themselves and their loved ones. Social type 8s channel their strength into social justice and protecting the vulnerable. And one-on-one type 8s seek deep, intense relationships where they can assert their power. And finally, type 9, the peacemaker. Type 9s are typically easygoing, agreeable, and conflict averse. They fear disconnection and conflict, so they often go along with others to maintain the peace. They desire harmony and inner stability. Self-preservation 9s focus on creating inner and outer comfort. Social 9s are concerned with keeping harmony within the group or the community. And one-on-one type 9s seek deep, harmonious connections, and they may merge with others' desires, mostly to avoid conflict. So you can see how these 3 subtypes play out in each unique core Enneagram type. Understanding your Enneagram subtype can be incredibly powerful. It gives you a clearer understanding of why you act the way you do within your Enneagram type. It helps you pinpoint how your dominant instinct drives your motivations, your fears, and your behaviors. So here are a few practical steps you can take after today's episode. Number 1, reflect on your dominant subtype. Are you primarily geared towards self-preservation, social, or one-on-one subtypes? Reflect on how this instinct shapes the way you show up in your life, in your leadership, and in your relationships. Number 2, embrace growth. Once you know your dominant subtype, think about how it serves you and where it might create blind spots. Are there areas where you can bring more balance into your life? Number 3, work with your instinct, not against it. The goal isn't to change your subtype, but to work with it more consciously. For example, if you are a self-preservation subtype, find ways to nurture your need for security without over-isolating yourself. Number 4, share what you've learned. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, a family member, or a team member. The more we understand our own and each other's instincts, the better we can navigate our relationships and our leadership. So I want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope that this deep dive into the Enneagram subtypes has been as fascinating for you as it was for me to put together. Don't forget to follow the show and to share this episode with a friend if you found it interesting and you think your friend would find it helpful as well. And until next time, I pray that the Lord fills you with gratitude, peace, and His amazing grace. I pray this episode blessed you, spoke to you, or encouraged you in some way. If so, please share it with a friend and head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. That's the only way for me to know if you're enjoying the show. Nothing blesses me more than to hear from you. Also, come on over to our free Facebook community. This is a great place for us to support one another on our faith and leadership journeys. You can find the link to the group in the show notes or go to gracefilledleader.com/community. If you have questions or content ideas for the show, please send me a message on SpeakPipe or via email. Go to gracefilledleader.com/contact and leave a written or voice recorded message. I would love to know how I can best serve you on the podcast. Now to Him who can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3, verse 20. Until next time, my friends, God bless.